Okay, so 5 days ago I quit caffeine. This video is going to talk you through my experience and how I'm kind of feeling now. So as for why I did this experiment with caffeine, the primary goal was to basically maintain more consistent energy levels throughout the day. Now, I was having maybe 2 coffees and 3 teas per day, and I'll have a figure of how much caffeine in milligrams that was per day. But my energy would kind of like rise and fall, peaks and troughs, and I'd have to kind of time when I was doing my work in when I felt good, when I felt like I had a lot of energy. I'd also heard very good things about abstinence from caffeine and better quality sleep, so whether that be falling to sleep quicker, having a deeper sleep, or perhaps even waking up naturally as well. Okay, so we'll get started with day 1. Each day I wrote a quick page of notes of how I was feeling on each day. At first I was recording a video alongside that as well, but for the first 2 days I felt so bad that those videos are never being shown to anyone. So without further ado, on day 1 I was already having kind of regrets about doing the challenge. I was having a splitting headache. My head felt like it was going to explode, to be honest. I felt lethargic. I had quite a lot of work to do and I kind of labored through it, but I didn't get too much done. And it was, above all that, it was a real eye-opener for how dependent I'd become on caffeine, even without really realizing. Like, I wouldn't go downstairs and be like, oh, I need a coffee, but without having it and knowing I can't have it and abstaining from it for a whole day, very quickly I've started to feel the impact of that. Day 2 was definitely more of the same. The headache persisted. It kind of got better throughout the day, but it was still awful. I felt terrible, and it's only upon reflection that I feel like that may have been linked to dehydration as well, but I'll go into that more at the end of the video. I run every day and I went for my run, and normally my run is a real mood booster. I normally love it, I look forward to it, but that run was terrible. I felt sluggish and just lightheaded and awful. It felt like a very, very long day. The only thing that made it bearable for me was, as I've written down here, was the fact that my mum made me a lovely hot chocolate, and a big one at that, so that kind of got me through the evening. But it was just terrible. It was awful. The first 2 days, it was like the withdrawal symptoms were just so strong, and I didn't previously realize that I had that relationship with this substance that, like, is just so normal. Pretty much everyone has caffeine, right? And I've been having caffeine for God knows how long. And whenever I would do a load of coursework, a load of exams or whatever, I would always just drink coffee after coffee after coffee. And obviously my relationship with it has become kind of unhealthy. So now we get on to day 3, and this is where everything almost flipped. The changes that I felt were absolutely immense. On day 2, I made a real effort to drink a lot of water, but on day 3, something just changed. The headache was gone. I no longer felt really lethargic. My energy was back, so to speak, and it did feel more stable, the energy itself. Now, I think I wrote on this one, it was too early for me to comment on more general areas of stabilization of energy because it was so early on, but I could feel that kind of, I felt a more general, just consistent cruising of productive energy and kind of, outset, I guess. But the really weird thing about this is that I slept incredibly well that night, and I actually woke up naturally for the first time in so long. And on top of that, I had my first dream in like years, actually years. Like, I thought you just kind of grow out of dreaming, but I suppose not, because I had 2 dreams in one night when I previously had none for years, and it was just surreal. I don't remember what happened, but it was a cool experience, I guess. So then we move on to day 4. The positives from here on out just continue. I already felt like I was sleeping much better. Like I mentioned, not only was I waking up naturally at this point, but I also felt much better rested. I felt like I got into much deeper sleep, and I fell asleep quicker as well. And then on top of that, I hit a 5k personal best on that day. I mean, the physical impact of this is either nothing or mildly positive, because I didn't get worse, or it was just a very good day. I mean, 1754. Woo. Woo. One final thing that I noticed on day 4 was that I felt hungrier. I don't know why, and I'm not saying that in some like motivational guru way, like, oh, hungry for success. I literally just want food. And I don't know why. I don't know if this was linked. I'll probably do some more research on effects of caffeine and appetite, I suppose. But yeah, I felt hungrier. There you go. Do with that what you will. Finally, we get to day 5. Again, more of the same. Woke up naturally for the 3rd day in a row, but this time earlier at 8:10 a.m. And this is definitely something that I want to continue. I want to be much more consistent with when I go to bed, so that hopefully I wake up naturally at around about the same time. I think this is really good. You hear people really raving about this. Personally, I hate alarms, even if it's my watch. Even just that vibrating just kind of sends me off the wrong way. So if I can maintain waking up naturally, that would be really good. Again, I've just written here, again, feel very well rested. So again, just very good sleep, I think, is the main thing. The energy was really consistent, but kind of as a prerequisite for that, I was getting much better rest. So I was going to have more energy, obviously. And then at the very bottom, I've got contemplating future action plan with regards to caffeine. So this was where I was kind of like, these positives are so good, and yes, they'll probably wear off over time. Of course, you level out and you get used to the situation you're in. But at the same time, these positives are so good that I just can't ignore them. And I'm kind of stuck between a few different mindsets, whether I'll never drink coffee again, whether I'll do it kind of occasionally on a social basis, like if you know, after lockdown, if you go for coffee with someone or whatever, or will I go back to normal, but just kind of, instead of I was using tablespoons for my coffee, instead of using tablespoons, maybe teaspoons, or try and get some on a fork, I guess, if I want a really small portion. My mind works in a weird way, I suppose. But in terms of some general notes or takeaways from this experience, caffeine affects everyone differently, right? You could give everyone the same cup of coffee, and some people will be bouncing off the walls, other people will not feel it at all. So I think it's really important that everyone appreciates that before they try and quit caffeine or increase their caffeine intake or anything like that. It affects everyone differently. However, there was undeniable stabilization of my energy, and there still is. I feel throughout the day, up until about 6 or 7 p.m, I feel very, very active. I feel like I've got a lot of energy mentally and physically. Whereas prior, my energy would kind of dip and go up, as I mentioned. So I think from that perspective, it's a massive plus. I've also found that after about 6 or 7, I start to get tired much quicker. So I'm much more ready for bed, which I think constitutes a great deal to being able to go to sleep faster, and then being able to get better rest, obviously. So from that sense, in terms of sleep, massive plus. But on top of that, still in terms of sleep, but actually once you've woken up, I felt ready to do things much quicker. So when I was drinking a lot of coffee, a lot of tea, I'd wake up, kind of drag myself to the shower, have a shower, maybe go get some breakfast, and then I'd feel kind of awake and ready to do stuff. But now I kind of wake up and I'm like, okay, let's go. Like I feel ready to actually get stuff done from the offset, and I no longer feel like that groggy feeling when you wake up. Before, I'd really have to shower, otherwise I literally couldn't wake up without a shower. So I mean, this is a massive plus for me if it holds up. I mean, it is only 5 days in, so it could well fade over time, but we'll see. Okay, so one of the last things I noticed down was about dehydration. I felt massively dehydrated on the first 2-3 days because I think I was so used to having hot drinks every few hours that I forgot that I had to kind of replace that with water intake. So I wasn't drinking anywhere near enough or anywhere near what I was used to. So if you are going to go cold turkey on caffeine, then make sure you have a substitution in the form of just water, right? Because you've got to remember how much water you were getting in. Even though caffeine does dehydrate you, you were getting a lot of water in by drinking those drinks. So yeah, by no means the toughest thing I've ever done. If I could describe it in one word, it would just be uncomfortable. So yeah, like, comment and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel a bit, so those 3 things really help me out to get promoted to other viewers who may be interested in this kind of content. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.